I'm Liam.
I'm Wayne,
You're listening to In Film We Trust YouTube.
a place where we post clips from our recent episode.
All links down below in the description.
And now, on with the show.
You're actually kind of far down the Nicolas Cage rabbit hole, aren't you? The whole meme Cage.
Very much, because can you think of another actor that is more memeable than Nicolas Cage?
Not presently, but it's actually when Nicolas Cage done Bad Lieutenant, the Werner Herzog one. Werner Herzog compared him to Kinski in a way, because what he did say is, with Kinski could do 200 bad films, but every time he worked with me, it was a great performance. And he said when he worked with Cage for Bad Lieutenant, he said it was another great performance. So there is a comparison there.
Although I do imagine Werner Herzog probably at no point wanted to kill Nicolas Cage.
Well, you never know.
No, but if you think about it, you think of some of the films he's been in and just how memeable they are. You got Face Off, Wicker Man, Deadfall, Vampire's Kiss. There's so many of them just where a lot of people will maybe only know the film from a screenshot of Cage doing something mad.
Yeah. But the thing is with Cage, he got away with it because he was doing really good films. In Wild at Heart, he's quite over the top. Even Raising Arizona, it's when it translated into he was doing a similar shtick in a bad film.
It felt like he was doing the stick in movies that didn't so, because someone like Raising Arizona, it's a farcical film. It's a silly film. So his performance almost seemed like on par with everybody else's.
Well, it worked in harmony with the material.
Yeah, absolutely. But then he did some other films where I want to say unpalatable, because I thought this performance does not fit this film. This makes no sense why he's acting like this in this movie.
Do you think it was just crap directors who didn't know how to direct him well and they said, oh, just do something similar to you done in such and such film?
I think that could be a reason. Interestingly, Deadfall, I don't know if you've ever seen
No,
Deadfall.
I've never saw Deadfall. What's it about?
I can't even remember.
Is it forgettable?
I can remember Cage being mad in it, but it was directed by a relative. It's directed by a Coppola, I think maybe his cousin. I get the feeling he just said, Nicholas, just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But with a lot of these later ones, they didn't know how to rein him in. They didn't know what to tell him to do. So he just kind of went, well, I'm just going to oversell this.
When did your kind of Cage fandom start? What film was that particularly what kind of struck you?
Thinking back, I reckon Face Off was probably the first major
John Woo?
film. Yeah, John Woo. Yeah, that was probably the first major film I've seen him in, and I love that film now just as much as I did back then. It's a stupid film.
Do you think that was almost the catalyst for blockbuster Cage?
Yeah,
what went into Gone in 60 Seconds and then
because that was his
Con Air.
Because the 90s were, you could argue that was his best decade. It was very interesting because he won his Oscar in that decade. But then again, he would also again later go on to do movies like Face Off. So yeah, it was a very interesting decade for him in the 90s.
Because he's actually a very interesting actor. Because if you think Moonstruck with Cher, did you ever see that?
No, I didn't. But I know which one
that was a really good film. And then he was obviously in a smaller part in Rumblefish, which was directed by his uncle Francis. And Leaving Las Vegas, which obviously he won the Oscar for.
Fantastic performance.
And then Wild at Heart with David Lynch.
Yeah.
He's one of them actors who I think when his time comes and he's like a very old man, he'll be looked at more fondly than he is now.
I think Roger Ebert said the same kind of thing. He's one of those actors who he's not talked about like you talk about Olivier or Daniel Day-Lewis, but I think in the future we'll look back and I think people will reappraise his work, and I think they will see a lot more merit in it, because the thing a lot of people I think forget is that he can be very method, not like your like your Day-Lewis or your De Niro's, but for a movie like I think it was Birdie, he pulled two of his teeth out without anaesthetic. I'm pretty sure he wasn't asked to do that, but
Shia LaBeouf done that for Fury.
He actually cut his own face up, and
silly bugger.
He didn't wash either, but he goes full method. I think Cage is very dedicated to his craft, but I think he maybe approaches it in a different way. He even said he was going to write a book, and he'd called his acting style, I don't know if I'm saying this right, like nouveau shamanic.
New shamanic, is it?
Nouveau shamanic or something like that, which again sounds like something Cage would come up with. Even, I guess, objectively bad movies like Ghost Rider, he went pretty method. Like he isolated himself from the crew, and I think he would pull faces in mirrors to try and get the right expressions.
Well, I think that's a film he actually lobbied pretty hard for, didn't he?
Yeah,
because he's a huge comic book collector, isn't he?
Comic book guy, yeah. I didn't actually see all of Ghost Rider, but from what I've seen, it's like a movie that didn't really deserve him, but at least he's trying.
It's not great. I saw it once. It's one of them films. It's like, all right, I've saw it. It was subpar. I'm not going to go rewatch it.
For me, the saddest part of Cage's career when he went through a period where he had quite bad financial situation, which is what happens when you go around Europe buying castles and owning. Do you not own like a bunch of exotic animals.
Well,
or
did he
something.
not buy like the remains of a dinosaur bones?
Yeah, something like that. Did he try and buy Graceland, or he buys lots of Elvis merch because he's a big Elvis fan?
Well, he literally bought Lisa Marie.
Ooh,
Controversial.
But he bought tons and tons of this stuff, and so he had to do a bunch of movies. You could see his heart wasn't in it. Like, he did that Left Behind Rapture movie. There was one called Justice where he just looks like that twinkle in his eye is not there.
Yeah, he was almost on the curb of going video on demand.
Yeah,
where his career was just going to play out like a Van Damme.
Yeah,
or
like
something.
he could have been basically what like Bruce Willis is now.
Ooh.
But he still managed to have, you know, some bounce back films, and I think he's still a very endearing actor.
Well, and Cage is, to be fair, is far more versatile than Bruce Willis.
Absolutely, yeah. It makes me despair looking at all of Bruce Willis's stuff now. But
it's I don't know what happens to them. I think they get pigeonholed so much in a specific role, and it's their only way of making money, so they know themselves they're making crap.
They do, and I think that's an area where Cage has succeeded, because I'm not sure you could pigeonhole him into a certain place, because he does a huge variety of films, whether it be comedies and dramas and all kind of things in between. So,
well, Cage is actually going the clever route, because for every crap blockbuster he does, he'll do like a precious indie.
Yeah.
So he's getting the acclaim for the small film and the money from the blockbuster.
Exactly. And speaking of all the memes and all the mad overacting stuff, does that in any way relate to the film we're talking about today? Absolutely not.
No, it doesn't. Because it's very subtle.
Because today we were talking about the 2021 film Pig.
Pig, oink.
Oink, oink, which is one of the most daring movies he's ever done.